How to kick imposter syndrome into the curb when you're a content creator. Hey everyone, Magi Hour here today with another podcast here on my daily walk. I apologize if there is some wind. I have some windscreen on on my mic, but there may be still some wind, so I hope it will be audible and there won't be a lot of issues with it. So, I'm pretty sure if you're a content creator that you already had this imposter syndrome, and I had this for years. I mean, especially when I started out. I just thought that, well, you're not legit. There are so many other people out there that making way more money than you. They are way more productive than you. They are way more that I am basically. So how to actually start creating content if you just start with this mindset? And today I wanted to give you a simple technique. And this simple technique, when you're going to hear about it, you are considering actually the thing that I'm preaching every time, and you're reconsidering actually this big principle. And the big principle I wanted to talk about today is, if you want to get better answers, start asking better questions. So what the heck where's the relationship between asking better questions and getting rid of the imposter syndrome? So, the first thing when it comes to imposter syndrome is that it actually surfaces when we start comparing ourselves to others. And most of the time, what we do is we compare ourselves with the big players in our niche, right? Because the big players are already in front of your eyes, right? Especially if you're using, let's say, Facebook, YouTube, signed into a specific account and watch their content. This is why I'm one of the biggest advice I can give you in order to make really your content stand out is stop following the big players in your niche, right? Or just follow them at the beginning in order to see what they say, and then say the opposite, and then just find your way in order just to create some contrast. So, why did I say that? Why do I say that? Because the thing is that if you're constantly looking at what others do, you are going to regurgitate what they say, and you're going to regurgitate that in a less better way than others. So, for example, I'm completely honest and transparent about that my English is not the best, right? There are probably mistakes that I made. Sometimes I'm mumbling. It's not perfect, right? So what if I started to compare myself with, let's say, an English native speaker? So first I start with a massive disadvantage, which is, I cannot speak English properly. This is the first thing. The second thing is that I also start comparing myself to their content. And because I'm not able to express myself correctly, then of course my content, even though may be better, I'm still going to be inferior to this other person, right? And if we go down this rabbit hole, we're just actually beating ourselves up, and just this prevents us from creating content. So first tip, stop actually following the big players in your niche. The second thing, I told you about asking better questions. So here's the thing. What if, or before I'm going to give it, let me tease you just a little bit, and you're going to see that this teasing will be worth it. So if you're going to ask any successful CEO, entrepreneur, someone who actually has a lot of money, if you ask him, well, what is more valuable, your time or your money? What do you think is he going to, will he answer? He's going to tell you that the most valuable asset is time. It's not money. Because right now, by the time I'm recording this, central banks are printing money 24/7. So it's easy actually to make money, even though depending on where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, it may seem hard. But what about time? Can I buy time? Even though I had, let's say, all the money available on earth, all the gold available on earth, would I be able to buy time? Not directly. I could buy time by actually hiring employees or delegating or that kind of stuff. But can I actually buy time? Can I actually make my 24-hour day a 25-hour day? No, impossible, right? So, if we understand that the most valuable asset is time, why do we get bogged down by the imposter syndrome when it comes to create content? So why aren't we asking ourselves, well, right now when creating free content, well, I may not be legit. So why are you creating content in the first place? Because the imposter syndrome starts showing up when you start charging for your work. But the thing is, do we respect more money or time? Well, if you're caught in the imposter syndrome, then what you're going to do is you valuable more money than time. Because if you actually understand that the most valuable asset people have or can give you is their attention and their time, what the logic says is that you should experience imposter syndrome even with your free content. But why does it always happen with the paid content? Why does it always happen when there is money in the equation and not time? So this is why I want you to ask better questions. So what if, let's say, in the piece of content you're going to publish, may it be a video, a podcast, or an article, or any kind of stuff, what if instead of asking yourself, am I actually legit? What if you were asking yourself, if the 3 or the 5 or the 10 minutes that people spend on your content, what if those minutes were actually the most valuable minutes they spend on their whole day? And you can extrapolate that. What if those 5 minutes were the best they spent on their week, on their month, on their year? Won't you think that you will make a greater impact in their lives? Don't you think that this will actually bond the relationship between you and your audience? That it will strengthen the relationship? Of course it would, right? So, if we understand that this imposter syndrome only appears when it comes to charging for our work, then the right question to ask is, if we don't bother about our free content, why actually creating free content in the first place? But if you're creating free content, it is that you actually have something to say. You have actually something that you want to share with the world. You have your unique vision, your unique thing, right? And people will gladly also pay you for actually charging for the content. If of course it's good, if it provides a transformation, if it solves a problem, and so on and so on. But this is not like the subject of the podcast today. But it's just really the mind shift that I want you to experience today. So my goal here is, what if the 8 minutes right now that you spend on this podcast were actually the best 8 minutes of your day? I hope it is so. Especially if you are experience this imposter syndrome, then this actually should shift your mind. And once you understand that, I mean, you just see that this imposter syndrome is actually just a syndrome. It's something that we may make up because we just grew up with different core beliefs and mental models about money and, well, this and that. But what if we flip it? What if we flip it and actually consider that the time is the most scariest asset and not money? And if we think that we are legit, if people are engaging with your free content, that actually this is just a strong indicator that you could charge for your content, and there is no harm. There is no harm. Okay? So I want to leave you today with these questions and with these paths to explore. It may take some time until you see the benefits, because you have to rewire actually the connections in your brain. But if you're doing this exercise and always remembering those questions when you see those kind of obstacles come up, it will definitely help you get over that. And if you actually want my help, if I'm going to put the links, some links in the description for a free 30 minutes consult, and also you're going to find more content like that in my newsletter. I'm going to leave the link obviously in the description. Yeah, and with that being said, I see you in the next one.